Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City Council meeting. I'll call the meeting to order. Thank you for being here. Seeing no one for the open forum, we will all stand, please, and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Join us up here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
It is Flag Day.
Yeah. On the council discussion, I'm going to start because I have some calendaring to do here. There's scheduling of the upcoming city council meetings, and this was a council memo number 43, and I think I've talked to all the council so far. So just for everyone's edification, and this will go out in an email to the council again, we are scheduling an advisory commission interviews for the open commissions for Saturday, July 16th, starting at 8:30. The council will be here. 8:45 we'll start with interviews. We are canceling the August 9th regular city council meeting due to the primary election. We will schedule a 6 p.m. Friday, August 12th special city council meeting to canvass the primary election. We will keep the August 23rd regular city council meeting. And on scheduling the special city council meeting to discuss the 2017 budget, that's a Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday. Those dates, they work for every council member, so whatever the staff prefers. Okay, whatever works best for you. So those are, I've already conferred with Teresa on that, and I've talked to all the council members here, so we have that done. Hats off to Hometown Hits. Tom Fitzhenry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to say that the Memorial Day service was fantastic at our park. We all learned a little about history and about somebody buried in a grave in the wrong spot and recognized. And I guess I appreciate that because it really brought it back to Richfield.
Yeah.
And it was great to see the first Minnesota there. I don't know how they stood there in their wool uniforms and that heat. And I was dying just in, lightweight uniform, but it was awesome. So hats off to the All Veterans Memorial. It was awesome.
It was. Mm-hmm. Council member?
Yeah, I wanted to, for my Hometown Hits, just mention something that's been on my mind the last couple days, I'm sure everyone, and that's just thinking about what's happened in Orlando. Mm-hmm. And I found out about it Sunday morning at the YMCA while Sarah and Calvin were in the pool, swimming around, and something buzzes on your phone. Something unimaginable yet all too familiar, that dozens of people are gunned down because of who they are. And so, like everybody, I think kind of a wave of emotion sweeps over you. Mm-hmm. Anger, sadness. But one of them for me was actually in that, a minute of relief that I won't have to tell Calvin, about what happened in Orlando. He's too young, too innocent, but, what happens when this happens again? Yeah. And what happens when he's older? And because this is the world my son lives in, and unless we do something to change it. And so, change is hard, and there are no easy solutions, although I think some of them are staring us right in the face. But outside of those political battles that are happening, I just wanted to comment on just something that I think all of us can do in our daily lives and in our work here in Richfield. And right after the terrible attacks, someone talked with the father of the coward that did this and, asked why, how. And one of the things he mentioned was that, recently he saw two men kissing and was just enraged by this. And I thought, where does that hate come from? And where does it start? And really, all of us have an opportunity, a role to teach our children and through our actions about compassion, about tolerance, and just about treating people with the respect and dignity they deserve, whether they're gay, straight, transgender, whether they're Christian, whether they're Muslim, whether they're black, white, or brown. Everyone deserves to love who they love, and everyone deserves to dance who they want to dance with, which is what the folks in Orlando were doing when this terrible, terrible, terrible tragedy happened. So, I think it's something we've all been thinking about over the last few days, and there are no easy answers, but I think what we can all do is treat people, speak up when we see hate and discrimination, speak out against it, and lead by example. And, this is a community, I think, where people are treated well, and that's what we should all take. We can do our small part to make sure love triumphs over this hatred. So that's mine for tonight.
Thank you. You have a perspective of a dad with a young son.
It changes things a little
Yeah,
bit.
it does, doesn't it? Yeah,
Mhm.
when we become parents, our whole world changes. It's amazing. Councilmember Garcia.
I really don't have anything, but I concur with what Councilmember Howard said, of course. And when you say, what can we do? I always believe in the power of prayer. And, when you see the survivors and the families, your heart just goes out to them because they're the ones that are suffering. And so it's like to me, the minute anything like that happens, I have to pray and get some relief that way, because otherwise you'd be filled with so much bitterness and anger. And I hope that if this is the worst, that nobody tops that, because we need some reprieve and try to settle on some good sense. Okay, having said all of that, then I just want to let folks know that if they look on the website for the Richfield Historical Society, they have all these concerts going on, and they're very good. You take your own chair, and they do bluegrass a lot, and and there's punch, or you take your own drink, and afterwards, it's a lot of fun because you'll see your neighbors, and it's just a small group, but they have folks that attend on a regular basis, because it is such a small group that it's kind of like the same people over and over. But I think if other folks knew about it, they would, benefit a lot from, that we have such versatile groups. And then the Community Services Commission, we also have, our concerts in the park, and those are always excellent too. And Jim does an outstanding job in making sure that those happen. And we've got some really terrific folks that play instruments and sing, and it's a great summer night to spend, listening to music.
Councilmember Elliott.
Yeah, not to belabor the point made by Congressman or Councilmember Howard or Edwina, the thing that I wish we had, that we used to have, is the ability to process and be introspective and not be inundated 24/7 with pundits telling us what happened or why it happened or how it happened, and from 14 different angles. We're inundated with information that is half the time false, half the time non-informing, and most other times inflammatory. And it doesn't matter if it's a horrendous act like happened in Orlando, politics, what one candidate said about the other and how it was rebutted. We have no ability to process and think through and make our own decisions. And if I'd wish anything for Calvin, it's teach him how to be himself, think for himself, take the information, filter out all the crap that's out there, and make his decisions based on what you teach him, you and your wife teach him, and how he feels, not how somebody tells him he ought to feel, or what he should think, or how he should act. And it crosses the spectrum in everything he's going to encounter in life. Let him be his own person, make his own decisions, and move to his own drummer, because if you fall prey to the 24/7 news cycles, you're going to end up confused and not knowing which way is up and which way is down, and not unlike 90% of the population in America today.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, true. Please, Councilmember.
And I think after all that, one lesson learned: if you see something suspicious, call it in. There was one in California that possibly would have happened. Called in as a suspicious person. Now, when they're going over this, they kind of knew this guy was going off the edge and that. Don't be afraid to call somebody. All those people that didn't call, can you imagine the anger in their hearts now when they could have, saved almost 100 people? I think it is 100 people. And all they had to do was make a phone call so that the police would have the right information and maybe got there sooner. So, use 911. If you got something suspicious, just don't keep it inside. Tell somebody, or you're going to feel bad later when you find out you were right. So.
Yeah, a lot of people hesitate to call 911 saying, well, I don't want to bother them. I said, no, bother us. If it's not that, if we are on a really important call, we'll let you know. Please call 911 anytime you see suspicious activity. One of the calendaring events that we talked about was scheduling advisory commission interviews. I'm just going to talk about what the openings are. The Advisory Board of Health has 2 adult openings, so if somebody would like to come on to that, that's a really great commission. It's one I've been on since I've been mayor, and it's near and dear to my heart. The Arts Commission has 1 adult opening, and this is really important to join the Arts Commission, and not necessarily as an artist. What you really want to know about this is the fact that we're doing art along 66th Street, and this is really impactful and really cool, and that you'll have a chance to just look at things and review them and give input to how we're going to change the streetscapes and things like this. And so if you're an admirer, that's all you need to be. And there's going to be a lot of really interesting things happening along these streetscapes, so we want you there. There are Community Services Commission. This has 3 adult openings and 1 youth. The Community Services Commission does an awful lot of, dovetails a lot into our planning and our transportation commissions. And they look also at our parks. So they're kind of an overarching committee that does way more than most people would really think that they do. And you don't have to have knowledge about these things because the staff are so good that they actually give you all the background information you need and train and teach you everything that you need when we're moving forward. And then the Friendship Commission, it has 1 youth opening. So I'm thinking about these youths. There's got to be some kids who are sitting around home, moms and dads, doing nothing. They would be great on these commissions. Give them something good to do and learn about their city. On the Human Rights Commission, there's 2 adult openings, and we've done some really great work on the Human Rights Commission around our new immigrants. We had a ceremony here. We've also done some things on rental rights and other things. We will continue some of the other community conversations and dialogues. That's very interesting. And then there's 2 youth on the transportation. This is your opportunity to the young folks out there to talk about bike trails and getting around on the bike, or when you first begin to drive or things like this, and what transportation means to you. So it'd be really great for us to have some youth candidates pop up on that. So those are the openings. And I know that some of our council members here will be calling some friends to see if they'll step up on some of these commissions too, but please put your note in there, your resume. You can go online and download the form, or you can stop by here at the front desk in the Information Center and pick up a form to fill out, and it'll get to us. They'll call you for an interview, and you can come in.
I was going to ask, Madam Mayor, do we have a deadline, or can people file just till the very end? Maybe Teresa knows that.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, the deadline for applications is June 30th. This is part of the new semi-annual recruitment instead of having an ongoing recruitment all year.
Okay. Try to get those in. We've let a few scragglers, late ones in before the interviews, but try to get them in on time, please. It's very helpful. Do we have a Met Council project update? Okay. Yes.
Madam Mayor, yes, we do.
I know, wake up.
We saw you here.
Jeff Schwartz with Met Council. Just wanted to give you a monthly update here. If the graphic could be put on the screen. I've got a summary. Oh, there it is. Basically, we've got, just wanted to give you an update where we're at from last month. As you can see on the map above, we're completely done with stages 1 and stage 2 on the east side of town. Right now we're working in stage 2 on the west side of town. If you drive down 66th Street, they're cooking out a liner right now over by Linwood Boulevard. They'll move from there to the next section east, And when they're complete with that, they'll be taking out the piping and the pumps that are up on Humboldt Avenue and moving that equipment towards stage 3. So we'll be wrapping up everything on stage 2 by the middle of July. And then from there, we'll be working on getting a tunnel underneath the railroad track to string our piping along, as well as we're working with the city on that one to see if that casing can be used for water main work in the future. And then it's more preparation work that will have a lot less impact than the other stages had until the work is done on Portland Avenue and that detour is opened up. And then we'll go in and finish stage 3. So with that, we'll be staying. There'll be some work going on between August and November, but it'll be mostly tunneling. And as soon as the detour's up, we'll go back to the work at hand with the lining, and we figure that'll take a couple months yet, and then we'll be done.
Oh, wow.
So did you have any questions or anything come up since last month?
Not a lot, just some of the shops over there by Village Shores were wondering when their access was going to open up after 66th Street again.
And which intersection is that?
That would be between Lake Shore and Lindale.
That will be within the next couple of weeks. They'll have to do one shot yet after they're done tonight, and then they'll pull up. Everything will get pulled out of there, and we'll remove our traffic controls and that type of thing too. So it'll still be until the end of June.
Oh, okay. That's still not as impactful as they wondered. They were hoping it was going to be all summer.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate that. Thanks for coming and updating us. Item 2 is...
Madam Chair, we're going to do the minutes.
I was going to do approval of the minutes.
Okay, we will be handling that round on the right side. So go ahead and move and mention.
Item 2, I'm seeking the approval of the minutes of the Special City Concurrent City Council Housing and Redevelopment Authority and Planning Commission work session of May 24th, 2016. And
I'll move that.
Okay.
Second.
And all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And second, the regular city council meeting of May 24th, 2016.
I'll move those.
Second.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'll ask for the approval of the agenda as it stands.
Does the right side still want to take control here?
The point is that we don't want to be left out.
Okay,
I'll
okay.
make the motion.
So, okay, do I have a second? Do I have a
Second.
second? The discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
So there weren't many agenda items, so there were a few people who didn't get a couple of items on the agenda.
Right.
Yes, so I'm having a bit of a rebellion on the right here. Yes, you should watch it because there could be a very long meeting and you could have a lot of agenda items very soon.
Well, they could have read the consent agenda.
And we could have given it to them, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't
See
city
how
manager.
condescending they are? Do you see that? You see Councilmember Fitzhenry condescending right down the line.
Exactly. Last time we get you guys water.
City manager, can we go to the consent calendar?
Yes, and I'm glad I have it, because otherwise I wouldn't have anything else to do here. Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, the consent calendar contains several separate items which are acted upon by the City Council in one motion. Once the consent calendar has been approved, the individual items and the recommended actions will also have been approved, and no further council action on these items will be necessary. Tonight, there are several items on consent. Item A is consideration of the approval of the first reading of an ordinance allowing up to 2 licensed gambling organizations to conduct gambling at on-sale liquor or club establishments. Item B is consideration of the approval of the bid minutes and tabulation for the Community Center Air Conditioning Replacement Project and authorize a construction contract from Cool Air Mechanical in the amount of $316,800. Item C is consideration of the approval of a resolution approving a 2-year interim use permit for occasional employee parking on a vacant lot adjacent to Lake Winds Co-op. Item D is consideration of the approval of a resolution authorizing the 77th Street Underpass Project application submission for the Federal Surface Transportation Program Funds under the regional solicitation process. Item E is consideration of the approval of a resolution authorizing the Lindell Avenue Project application submission for Federal Surface Transportation Program funds under the regional solicitation process. Item F is consideration of the approval of a resolution for reimbursement of certain expenditures from the proceeds of reconstruction bonds to be issued by the city for the following projects. 66th Street reconstruction, and that'll be 2017 through 2019, and the 6-year mill and overlay for 2018. Item G is consideration of the approval of rejecting all bids submitted for the 2016 seal coating program. And finally, item H, consideration of the approval of an amendment of a commercial lease with the Minnesota Department of Transportation and amendment of licensing agreement with Transportation Shop Incorporated for the parking lot at Cedar Avenue and Diagonal Boulevard. And that concludes tonight's consent calendar.
I'll move the calendar.
Second?
Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is Councilmember Howard.
I have consideration of the first reading of an ordinance repealing Section 910 of Richfield City Code pertaining to shade tree pest control and replacing it with a new Section 910 and schedule a second reading for June 28th. City Code references Minnesota statutes that are periodically updated by the legislature. From time to time, housekeeping updates are needed to City Code to ensure references to statutes are correct. Section 910 includes reference to statutes that have been repealed and requires a housekeeping update to reference current statutes. In addition, the emerald ash borer found on private property in the city in March 2016, staff has included EAB as a public nuisance similar to oak wilt and Dutch elm disease, allowing the use of special assessments for tree removals if desired by the property owner. And so my motion is to approve the first reading of an ordinance repealing Section 910 of Richfield City Code pertaining to shade tree pest control and replacing it with the new Section 910 and schedule a second reading for June 28th, 2016.
Second.
Any discussion?
The only thing I was going to mention is maybe we should mention we have an open house coming up related to emerald ash borer, correct? I
We
just
do.
don't have it right in front of me.
Madam Mayor, council members, we have an open house on June 21st at 6:30 p.m. here in City Hall, Bartholomew Room.
Okay.
It's right before the Community Services Commission meeting.
Oh, that's a good idea. Okay.
Madam Mayor, if I could just add, and what we're just talking about, for those who aren't familiar with the process, because Dutch elm disease has kind of dropped down quite a bit. We don't have as much anywhere near as what we used to.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
But I mean, putting this in there is a help to residents because if you're in the unfortunate position in the community of having one of your private trees fall victim to emerald ash borer and you have to have the tree removed, a lot of those ash trees in private yards are very big, and so it's going to be an expensive process. And this allows a homeowner to go through the assessment process, which rather than having to pay off a bill of a couple thousand, maybe even more dollars to take a tree out, that can be spread on your property taxes and assessment over a period of I think it's up to 5 years.
Yep, I believe it's.
That's what it's generally been. So it's meant to help the residents that are going to be affected by this in the coming years.
Okay, please.
And I'll just add that, we've been maintaining the EAB on the public right of way for a number of years now, and we're in a position where we don't think we'll need any outside funding to handle this all the way through. We've got less than 1,000 trees left in the public right of way, and we'll take out 100 next year, and we're kind of thinning them out and replanting so we don't have to just have mass removals. We estimate there's over 10,000 private property trees that are ash trees.
I have an ash. Are you actually going to take them out?
Well, if it becomes, infested with the
well, it's
emerald
been
ash
treated.
borer.
Mine's been treated.
Okay, so you'll probably, so have ours. The ones that we have still have been treated, so we're not in a rush to take them out, even in the area where the one tree was found, but
Okay,
we're gonna be inventorying our parks this winter too.
okay.
You know, I don't want to belabor this, but it's easy to forget that several years ago, staff and city council at that time did what was pretty much on the cutting edge. We were one of the very, very, very first cities that went to start inoculating these trees. And so we're in a much, much better position. When you start looking at all the ash trees that we have in the boulevards, even, you said there's about 1,000 left now, but there was quite a bit more. You know, if we would have had to have, as a city, lost those all in one fell swoop, I mean, it would have been just an extraordinary expense for the city. And, you know, we ended up training our own crews and getting our own equipment to do the inoculation of those trees. So, wow, for a very small comparative amount of money, we're stretching this out and never going to have to, as Kristen said, use outside funding to take care of our ash trees on public right-of-way.
Wonderful. And we'll get through our parks this summer then? Okay, good. Good to hear that. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is item 7. This is a consideration of a cooperative agreement with Hennepin County for the county state aid highway reconstruction project. It's number 53. In advance of the upcoming construction of the 66th Street project, the county state aid highway between Xerxes and Avenue and 16th, city and county staff have negotiated the attached construction cooperative agreement. According to the proposed agreement, the city of Richfield will participate in the cost of the contracted construction work for the project as set forth in the division of the cost summary in Exhibit A. So what happens is when county roads have to be reconstructed, the cities have to pay a portion of this too. The county is stretching its dollars further, and unfortunately the cities have to pay more. So that's kind of painful for us, but this is a project that needs to be done. The total estimated city of Richfield cost for the project is approximately $23,516,000. This amount includes the city's cost share for the following notable project items. Right-of-way acquisition, we split that 50-50. Construction of street, sidewalk, and bicycle facilities. I think we all agree we want those. Construction of roundabouts at Lyndale and Nicollet Avenue. New traffic signals with flashing yellow arrow controls where it's feasible. I think that's a really neat innovation. Reconstruction of city utilities, water, sewer, and storm sewer. Undergrounding of the overhead utilities, something we wanted. That's a 50-50 share. And then enhanced streetscape and landscape elements. So again, that goes back to the Arts Commission and some other things about what we'll be doing. So this is our cost share for that project. By motion, I will then ask for the approval of the construction cooperative agreement number PW 22-19-16 between the County of Hennepin and the City of Richfield for the construction of County State Aid Highway number 53, 66th Street from Xerxes Avenue South to 16th Avenue South.
Second.
Is there any discussion and any staff report?
Madam Mayor and members of the council, I'll just note that today was the day that Hennepin County received authorization to move forward with the project from MnDOT. So that timing worked out. So that means they're shooting for a bid opening in July, and they'll start some minor prep work, maybe some utility work, the above ground utility work this year, and maybe some storm sewer right out of Monroe Park yet this year. So
Oh, wow.
I don't think there'll be any road closures. That's not anticipated, but
Okay.
they may begin as early as September.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8, Councilmember Fitzhenry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The item under consideration is a consideration of bid minutes and tabulation for the Cedar Avenue Liquor Store remodel and upgrade, and authorize a construction contract from Ebert Construction Incorporated from Corcoran, Minnesota, in the amount of $782,200 and a bid alternate number 1 for $20,718. At the February 23rd, 2016 regular City Council meeting, City Council authorized a capital improvement and directed staff to proceed with the remodeling and upgrade of the municipal liquor store located at 6600 Cedar Avenue South. The renovation of the current Cedar Avenue liquor store will include major overhaul of the entire building and property improvements. The plan would increase cooler space by 34% and sales floor shelving by 23%. The parking area will also be expanded and arranged to ease traffic movements in peak customer activity periods, and after final parking dimensions are determined, the city will then seek bids for that portion of the project. The current monument sign may potentially have to be relocated due to the new parking configuration. Both the parking improvements and the relocation freestanding signage will be separate projects and bid separately. Improvements do include the roof replacement, concrete sidewalk replacement, bituminous mill and overlay in the parking area. That'll be a separate bid. Pneumatic entry exit door replacement, product refrigeration equipment, which is compressors, fans, doors, product shelving. Numerous interior appointments, exposed ceiling, polished concrete floor, exposed HVAC vents, restroom and office relocation, sales floor product shelving, wall graphics, aisle product identification signage, exterior signage, point of sale counters, and exterior canopy replacement over the entryway. I asked our director, Fillmore, to come up. When we're looking at the bid, there's two processes. We're looking at the basic bid and then the enhancement, which they marked number 1. And we were looking at that, and I'd like to have him explain why we may decide to delay number 1. So,
Madam Mayor and member of the council, that alternate bid is for the heating and air conditioning unit on top of the roof. It's for a new one. The base bid has a relocation of the current unit, but we thought that maybe because it's a few years old, we would go out for the alternative bid. The staff and the architect thought that was just a bit too high, and are asking the council to put a hold on that for 30 days so we could examine some other alternatives. Councilman Fitzhenry also mentioned that there are some incentives by Excel on new units like that, so it may reduce the cost even further.
okay, thank you. So what I'll do is go ahead and recommend the action that we approve bid minutes and tabulation for the Cedar Avenue Liquor Store remodel and upgrade, and authorize a construction contract from Ebert Construction Incorporated from Corcoran, Minnesota in the amount of $782,200 and a 30-day hold on a bid alternative number 1 for $20,718 to allow sufficient time to access whether the alternate bid is a good value.
I'll second. Other comments? I'm looking forward to seeing this when it's done. What's the scheduled date again to do this one now?
The second week in September,
Okay.
right after Labor Day, and that's basically, September's probably our slowest month. It's even
Yeah.
slower than
Get it done
January.
before Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, we'll be open. I think we call for a November 4th, or I think the first week of November. So we'll have plenty of time to get ready for Thanksgiving and have a really good holiday season.
Wonderful.
I got a question. Now, since we're holding that for 30 days, are we going to have council action if we decide to go with it? Do we know that?
Architect Mike Class in the audience. Mike, I don't know if do you know offhand whether you think that, I think that, for one thing, it's a $20,000 bid, and it's well within the authority of the city manager
Okay.
to do that, so I don't think we have to go through that.
What I was going to say is, what we could do is just, if we decide to go with it, we can incorporate it in by change order.
Okay.
That's really the simplest way in this case, so.
Okay. Right.
So we have talked to the contractor, they were in agreement that we could hold it or hold their price on it for 30 days, and so
Okay.
that seemed to be the best move. We could do a little investigation and see if
All right.
it's really a good price.
Well, thanks for watching out for us and our dollars.
Okay, thanks.
All those in favor signify by aye.
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 Opposed? The motion carries. We have city managers report.
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of the council, at the next council meeting, I am going to come to the council and probably give you a rough draft letter that I'd like to send to the city council of the city of Edina to ask them to consider renaming their 76th Street in Edina to International Boulevard to match our International Boulevard that we're going to change. That's our 76th and 77th Street. I had met a few weeks ago with Jeff Hamill and Gary Warren at the airport and pretty much have an idea exactly how far we can take International Boulevard into the airport area. And I've looked on a map, and I've got Public Works working with me kind of to put together a map for you folks. And I drove it. I drove it myself today on the other side and looked at it. And I think we should ask at least to go. It's about a block and a half past France Avenue, where it kind of starts to jog down. I would love someday that International Boulevard would actually take that jog down, because it kind of continues like a boulevard there.
Yeah.
And it does go all the way over to Highway 100. And, I know that anytime you start asking a city to rename streets, you're going to be dealing with businesses, many of whom might get concerned about having to change their address. And that's something for the city of Edina to consider. On the other hand, I think, first of all, I think the idea of International Boulevard is still a really great idea. And rather than trying to remember a 77th Street or 76th Street or 70 whatever address, when you say International Boulevard, it's our hope that by the time we get the underpass in, International Boulevard is going to be a place that is defined, that people know, oh yeah, International Boulevard, that runs across, the bottom of Richfield, Edina into the airport. And I would think it's a cool address to have if you had a business rather than 76th Street or 77th Street. But so I'm going to come back with a map, and you folks can decide how much you want to ask the city of Edina City Council to consider. But that's going to kind of be my suggestion.
I would think, given the fact that there's 500-acre plus redevelopment going on in Pentagon Park, that it's a natural time to make this suggestion. I mean, they're doing a huge renovation over
Yes, they
there,
are.
and so the existing businesses are only going to be on one side of the road, and those are all, I think, office parks. But 500 acres is changing hands and going to be redeveloped, and it's not going to be a hardship for anybody to pick up a new name, and that may even give them the opportunity to rebrand. I mean, it's going to be rebranded anyhow, but with a new address, new street coming through there, it just seems to be a natural fit.
Right, and so that's the point. I'll put the map together, and you can see how far you want to ask them to go. I think, again, if it was all the way along, kind of that jog down over there, International Boulevard is a much classier address for a bunch of new businesses than 77th Street.
Well, just look what American Boulevard did.
Right,
Did
exactly.
for Bloomington.
Yeah.
We should be doing that for our two cities, and
Yep.
I'll have some conversations with a couple of council members over there too, see what I
Yeah.
can,
And-
what they say. I've talked to the city manager over there already as well.
Madam Mayor, I would just add too, it might be helpful just if there's a sense that there might be some businesses that are apprehensive on the Edina side. I know that we have businesses that are very excited about it and think it's a very positive change for them, and to sort of communicate that to
Yeah.
folks that we have businesses that think this is a net positive might be good to communicate as part of that too.
Yep, good idea.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, excellent, excellent. I'm looking forward to this. Councilmember Garcia?
I am going to move claims.
I'll move payroll.
I'll second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I sentence council members Elliott and Garcia to 10 minutes timeout.
Just trying to earn our pay, Your Honor.
We're still on the air.